Hello, friends. Welcome to today's show. I'm Dr. Helen, founder and CEO, that's Chief Engagement Officer of Dr. Helen Holton and Associates, and your host for Dr. Helen Speaks, Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership. If you see the funny things in my mouth, yes, they're rubber bands. And, it is me stepping into my resilience because I'm not a fan of it. However, it's a means to an end for good health. I digress. Each week, we meet and explore topics to help you level up your leadership. How does this happen? When you learn ways to leverage your strengths, the best of who you are by nature and nurture, to navigate weaknesses, we all have them. Don't fret, we all have them. And build resilience. Resilience is a power that helps you to persevere and push through life's obstacles, roadblocks, detours that get in the way of what you want. They get in the way of your success. These three elements, strengths, weaknesses, and resilience, are keys to equip, engage, and elevate you forward on your path to success. How does success show up for you? You may be asking, well, what does it look like? How will I know? Here are three clear ways to measure it. Number one, an improvement in your performance, yours and that of your team. Secondly, an increase in productivity. Yes, how many widgets did you put out? More this year, this month than last month? All sorts of ways. How many services? How many whatevers? And third, growth in your prosperity potential. That's your profits. However, I see it as greater than just the money in the bank. Not that that's not important, but your prosperity potential is beyond dollars and cents. It amounts to a stronger bottom line, however you want to look at it. What's going to keep you going and growing to do and show up? These three measures help you monitor your path forward for what you want, on purpose, with intention, and on your terms. As your show host, coach, connector, and convener of leaders, Dr. Helen Speaks is a resource to support you in how to optimize your leadership, life, and legacy. I ask this question every week because it's such a powerful question to get your mind moving, to help you find and focus on what you do best. Do you have the opportunity to really do what you do best every day? And I want you to think about it. I know I ask it every week, but we have different people show up all the time. What's life like? What's your life like when you're in the zone of your purpose, passion, and power? Yes. Our innovative heart and head focused approach works to help you achieve more success, less stress, and greater joy in your life. Our work lives in the space of professional development and personal growth. True story. I was doing a training with a corporation last month, and the people walked away. They were just like, oh my gosh, our company never really takes us down this path of personal growth and development. And it matters. Oh, it matters in so many ways. And we're going to find out more about that when I get to our guest, who I am so thrilled. For months, I've been trying to get her here, and it's happening. Let me just share with you, communication and engagement are critical elements to your ability to connect with other people. They contribute to your efforts to level up your leadership, to chart your unique path, to be seen, heard, and impactful. How you engage with yourself and communicate with others is a big part of what sets you apart from anyone else. When you have a genuine sense of belonging, that you fit in the world and develop deep relationships with people, the world gets to connect with you at your best. Isn't that what you really want? This is your path to power that leads to more. My personal commitment to you is to help you bring your best self, your A game, for the world to experience. And it's here where we connect and engage deeper to make that happen. Little tidbit of information that I came across. Despite all the many advancements for women, our economic status continues to lag behind that of men. Harvard Business Review shared earlier this year that the pay equity gap for women still lags behind men by as much as 17%. And I'm convinced in some areas it's higher than that. This is the backbone for our discussion today with our guest. Woo, I'm so excited. Developing the leadership of women is critical to closing this gap. And our guest today is Miss Amanda Zinn, a leader in business, community, economic, and nonprofit development. She brings more than 30 years of evolving leadership to our show today. In her current role as president and CEO of Leadership Baltimore County, Amanda leads the overall direction and development of the organization. Now, what does that mean? It means she's covering strategic planning, program development, fund development, board development, and financial management. All those elements that you need to make your organization go and grow. Amanda and I met close to 20 years ago. I think a little more than that, but who's splitting hairs? It's been a couple of decades. We have a common passion for lifting disadvantaged women. And ladies and gentlemen who may be chiming in, as women, if we are in the workplace seeking to bring our gifts and graces to the planet, yes, we are disadvantaged, as the stat I just gave. And it's here that we continue to share this common bond and beyond. We're going to wrap up our discussion today that we've been covering for the past few weeks, talking about the pursuit of influence today. John Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. And I took it from his book here, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. Phenomenal read if you haven't read it. It's chock full of information to take you to the next level. We're going to process the progress and integration of these levels that lead to reaching the peak of leadership. John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. The world becomes a better place when people become better leaders. And this is the space that Amanda and I live in. Amanda, welcome to the show today. Why don't we begin hearing your perspective on these thoughts as we delve deeper into what it means to move through these levels to attain and sustain leadership.
Hi, Helen. I'm so happy to see you, and thank you so much for inviting me to participate in our dialogue today. I really appreciate it. As you know, I just adore you. I think we share a lot of the same kinds of passions to move people forward, to invest in our community, to invest in the people around us. And it was funny listening to the introduction of what I do, et cetera. The most important thing that I do is I lead our program. And so at Leadership Baltimore County, we have cohorts that run 10 months long. They are comprised of men and women from corporations, small businesses, nonprofit organizations, and government agencies, all 3 levels, federal, state, and local. And we put them on a path of becoming more effective leaders through some personal leadership development, as well as introduce them to the challenges and opportunities in our community so they can apply their business leadership skills and accomplishments to serving the community to make our community a better, stronger place, higher quality of life for all our citizens. And so it's what is funny about your introduction was that I neglected to put anything in there about the program, because that's where we really engage with these leaders. And, you talk about being really doing, are you able to do the things every day that are your most valuable skills and tools, and what you love and give you intrinsic rewards and that you feel passionate about. And that's it for me. It's working with these other leaders. You know, we have a cohort of, well, this year it's 54 people.
Mm,
And they're amazing people, as you can imagine. So I feel really blessed to be able to do that. But and the other thing I wanted to say was, you talk about the pay gap. It's even more significant for women of color.
absolutely.
Yeah, so we have a long way to go. I'm actually on a member of an organization called Executive Alliance. And Executive Alliance is all about trying to equalize the playing field a bit by helping women get into C-suites or on boards of for-profit organizations, and really lifting them up. We have a mentoring program and other things that we do to help with that. But every year we publish a report that talks about the inequities in pay and what we need to do to help get rid of that.
For sure. I mean, it goes back to, and I use it all the time in my work, everything rises and falls on leadership. To the extent that we help broaden perspectives of leaders to look beyond the familiar, the status quo, and to really appreciate the value of diverse and inclusive environments. Oh my goodness, how many studies have you seen that show the more inclusive an organization, the greater the level of diversity, and not just by checking the box, but allowing them to be seen and heard with the different perspectives that they bring, shaped by a lens of a different reality.
It goes to the bottom line. It goes to profits. For businesses to have all of those different perspectives at the table, and the markets that can be better reached, and the connections you can make with your customers or your clients are so much stronger when you have that diverse group of people. You know, at LBC, at Leadership Baltimore County, we specifically bring together people in our cohorts who are atheists and agnostics and Jews and Muslims and you name it, who are bleeding heart liberals and ultra conservatives, who have very diverse perspectives on everything, who've come from backgrounds of poverty and who've come from backgrounds of being born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Mhm.
And we do that because we create this safe space for people to really connect and talk authentically and be their true authentic selves. And only when you can understand a very different perspective than your own can you really grow, and you can really see things from that broader perspective that changes everything. Basically, the more you can see different angles and perspectives you can see from any given situation. So it's really important from a personal learning growth perspective, as well as the bottom line for companies.
Absolutely. You know, and I love that we're finding more of these types of organizations. I went through Greater Baltimore Committee's leadership program back in the late 90s. And even then, I love the intention of creating tension. You create tension by bringing different people together in a shared space. And oftentimes we want to shy away from that. It's when you lean into it with a sense of curiosity. What causes you to be different from me, and vice versa? And I love that because I hate to use the term sets you up to delve into it. It's almost like a learning laboratory where you can stretch yourself to do things that you may not have been willing to do, where you earn your living, where you show up as a leader. And the fact that you bring leaders from different sectors, and this was one of the things I found, is that you can begin to uncover some of the, not just the conscious, but the unconscious biases we bring into these spaces and how they impact the outcomes of what we get. Going back to the bottom line, even a nonprofit is watching out for their bottom line. You want it to be Black at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year. And if it's not, it's because you paid attention to the trends, the cycles, the business cycles, because every organization goes through some sort of cycle of where it's not always flourishing and going up, 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 and up. Look at the stock market, for example. Even since the crash of 1920 and the multiple crashes we've had since then, it is still higher than it's ever been. So when we talk about this, what are some of the ways the women can use to embrace and engage leadership development, that professional development and personal growth?
Well, I know that you are certified in a lot of different assessments. And I find that one of the most valuable things to do is engage in a 360 assessment. So for those of you who don't know what a 360 assessment, it's like 360 degrees in a circle. And the people all around you, above you, below you, and beside you, all share their perceptions of your leadership capabilities. And you too take the assessment and you rate yourself on different competencies. And at the end, you get back a report and that shows where you see yourself very differently or very much the same as the people all around you. And to get that kind of insight and feedback, I think is invaluable. And so we do that at Leadership Baltimore County. We administer a 360, and the places that the people in our program concentrate on are where there's a big gap between how they see themselves and how other people see them. Like, what's going on there? Let's talk about this and look at this closely. But I think the whole concept of leadership begins with knowing yourself. And really understanding your true, authentic self. And this is just one tool to help you do that. If anybody's just looked for a job, they've probably gone through those kinds of, what are your values? What are your skills? What are you good at? What do you like to do? Looking at all this and then taking them all together, looking at a potential path for your career. It's the same kind of thing, but it's more about leadership competencies, or with the tool we use called reactive tendencies. So when you're under stress, where do you go to? Do you be controlling or protective, or things that you don't really want to be doing? But this particular tool we use looks at all of that. But I think that that's a really good place to start.
I agree, that, and I use multiple assessments. And when you talked about that, I love in DISC, the 3 graphs that they give you, the public view, the when you're under stress view, and the mirror of who you see yourself in the mirror to be, and to help people understand the behavioral aspects of who they are and how they show up differently. So that, and coaching people through, it's one thing to take an assessment tool, and I love 360. I just finished going through 360s with a couple of clients, and it's just amazing, the results, looking at them from a microscopic level and from a macro perspective. And what goes back to the participant. I've done it working with clients where, no, we just want them to see these aspects of it, maintaining the confidentiality of people who've responded. However, it's still a good instrument. And it's giving you not just your own perspective, as you said, the 360 view. Let's talk a little bit about, and I noticed that this is more prevalent with women than men. How do we learn to get out of our own way to develop our leadership? What are some of the ways that you can think of that we do that?
Well, I think first and foremost, we as women are, this is fairly trite, but we are mostly the caretakers in our society. We have children, we have elderly parents, we have neighbors, et cetera, and we're usually the ones to step up to the plate. And so, with all of our other responsibilities. And so I think that first and foremost, people have to, and this isn't selfish. This is self-care. This is self-fullness, not selfishness. Need to
I
take
like
care of,
that.
need to take care of yourself, because you really can't take care of other people if you're a mess. And so carving out the time to take care of yourself, and also looking at, what are the different aspects of your self. So you want to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually. You want to have fun. There are so many different aspects to taking care of yourself. And I think taking a really good look at what is, there's a pie that we use that has all these different aspects of work-life balance, and you put a line in the pieces of the pie about where you think you are. From I'm horrible when it comes to my spirituality. I have this spiritual self, but I'm not really doing anything to grow that or to engage in that spiritual self of mine. So you put this little line in the pie chart to see where you are. And in the end, you come out with a really good idea of where you need to spend some energy and time on caring for yourself. But I think it goes back to, as women, I don't know whether it's innate or learned, but
Probably a
we
little of both.
probably that, right? Everything is, nothing's either or, black or white, right? But yeah, we just take care of other people, and we really need to realize that prioritizing self is not selfish. It's super important.
Absolutely. I also think that oftentimes we have to learn to quiet that voice of our inner critic. Now, we all have one. The naysayers that live in our head telling us what we can't do, what we aren't good enough to do. Why would you think you can do that? Oh, that's going to take too much time. Why do you want to put yourself up to get that higher position? How well are you doing in this present? All the things that go through our mind, and putting that away, because oftentimes it's such a false reality for how the world sees us. And if we don't allow ourselves the space to go beyond what the inner critic in our mind wants us to believe about ourselves, where's our potential to grow? Another thing is approach the unknown with a perspective of curiosity. Versus, what do I have to look out for? You don't want to come hesitant or looking for the bad things. Just be curious and open about what is it that that you want to know more about. One of the things that I often hear is men have no problem saying, hey, I want to know more about this. Can I shadow you? Would you mentor me? We tend to sit back and wait for someone to invite us. Or suggest that this is a way for us to move forward in what we want to do. Well, if no one's looking at us and making the decision to give us that opportunity, going back to pay equity, going back to what the composition of what most C-suites look like in terms of their boards, not even their employees, but their board of directors. How are you creating space to broaden the perspective of decision makers who sit at the table, either to run an organization, to govern an organization, or to provide high-level insights over what's happening? And until we begin to move into these spaces, not much will change.
That's right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, when you're talking about these inner voices that we have, right, and we have to quiet them, it just reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. It's a little saying by Lao Tzu. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. watch your habits, they become their character, your character, and watch your character because it becomes your legacy.
Mhm.
So turning off those negative people in that head of yours immediately can thwart that whole process, and you can end up with a wonderful legacy and et cetera, et cetera. But you have to watch those thoughts to start.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And I say to people, talking in wavelengths of how the brain receives that, thoughts go through our mind like this constantly, they're just swimming through and they come and they go. When we give voice to those thoughts, they gain more energy. They stick with us more. And the more we focus on them, we make them our reality. And then we sit there and went, well, how did this happen? Well, what were you thinking about? What were you saying to people about what you think? Is it life affirming or is it life defeating? Which one? And clearly, this goes back to intention. What is it that you're looking to do, to be? I love how Michelle Obama termed it becoming, because in some form or fashion, we're all working at becoming our best selves. And showing up here every week is just another way to help you step into your best self. Amanda, how can people get in touch with you if they want more information about Leadership Baltimore County?
Oh, sure. So my email address is azinn, ZINN, at lead, LEAD, Baltimore.org. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and this year we're actually celebrating our 40th anniversary. So we've been around for a good long time. We have about 1,300 alumni all over the place. Adrian Jones is an alum of ours, as is Johnny Olszewski, the county executive. Anyway, it's a really great organization and one of personal growth, and one that can help you figure out where you can make an impact in our community for the better for all people. So if you're interested, shoot me an email.
Oh, I love it. And I want to remind people, we spent the last 5 or 6 weeks, 6 weeks, I think it's been, talking about the 5 levels of leadership. And just to remind you what they are, level 1 is position. This is your entry level into leadership. It's that place where you're stepping in to say, okay, I got a title now. Oh, maybe I have an office, what have you. It's just the beginning. Level 2 is permission. And it's not about you asking people, oh, can I lead you? It's about people who are put in position for you to lead, begin to really give you the authority that they want to hear you and follow you in what you're doing. And level 3 is production. Production is where you're producing results, action. People are seeing, they're like, hey, our department's is on the move. We're being recognized. Production. It's where your momentum takes off. Now, you won't get to level 3 if you stay stuck in levels 1 and 2. Level 3 is the midpoint that's either going to take you to higher levels or keep you where you are, falling back on levels 1 and 2. Level 4 is where you begin to replicate what you're doing. You're empowering people to grow. This is about how you begin to develop those who follow you. And level 5 is about reaching the peak, where you've earned the respect of those who follow you. And you practice these levels on a daily basis. It becomes your way of being, how you show up. So as we wind down today, on this part of our discussion, I just want to share that Dr. Helen, as a strengths, resilience, and leadership coach, you may believe that I've got all this figured out. I don't. And yet I continue to work with leaders to be the best they can be through coaching, mentoring, and consulting that I embark upon. It all boils down to helping you to think, be, and do more with intention and on purpose. Success is not a solo journey. However, it does require you to spend some time alone and with others, deciding how you intend to pursue what you want for your life. The best way I can support you is to continue to show up here in this space as a resource to help you get where you want to be. Each week, we explore topics to discover, uncover, and level up your leadership. And we'll keep on doing it. I want you to keep this in mind. None of us are born as great leaders or even good leaders. However, we can become great leaders. It takes commitment, investment, and intention to learn, grow, and develop as a leader that other people want to follow. Because if no one's following you, it's a sure sign that you're not a leader. We keep moving you forward. Join us. We're here every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and whatever time zone you're in outside of those two. You can find us, our show live on the Win-Win Women TV network, or you can catch replays on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. And I am working to put every episode we've ever done up on the Dr. Helen Holton YouTube channel. At Dr. Helen Holton and Associates, we work with leaders using a heart-centered, head-focused approach to help you level up your leadership by leveraging your strengths, managing weaknesses, and building resilience. It leads to more success, less stress, and greater joy in life. So until next time, we'll see you.